Is the stock market set up for a short squeeze? Nobody really knows, but I just want to go over some things on why it could possibly be, just based on my opinion. So some of the things we're going to go over in the video, the technicals, the fact that there's a shift in market sentiment, and that we're in a bear market, and just in general, bear market bounces can be really aggressive. And when I say short squeeze, I don't mean what happened with AMC and GME. That's like a black swan event. Really what I mean is just some sort of aggressive move to the upside, only if it's just for a few days, because I feel like a lot of people are positioned to the short side in the market right now. So just to get them out, feel some pain, even if it means coming back lower after that. So now let's talk about the technicals. This is going to be the SPY. This is what I really like to use for the overall kind of market direction and just sentiment of what's going on. I'm a huge fan of using short-term moving averages to get an idea of what's going on. As you see right here, this orange line, this is the 9 EMA. On Friday, we held that 9 EMA and we had a really nice move higher. The SPY caught some upside momentum. And the reason why I think Friday was so important is because it looked like it was barely hanging on to kind of this 365 support. It was also below the 9 and also this red line, which is the 20 SMA. And it felt like below that, sellers could possibly take control and there could be a sell-off. And it did not do that. It actually looked like it had a chance to sell off, held support, reclaimed that 9 EMA, and got above the last 2 days of price action. So it really shows that at least on Friday, the bulls took control. Now, whether or not we go higher, who knows? But I think that this is a candle to take note of. But that was just Friday. So let's kind of talk about how we got to that point. So this huge green candle, this was the day where there was the bad CPI news. We gapped down on that bad news, broke major support, and it looked like it was ready to sell off. I know I'm not the only one who thought that. So the reason why I think that it rallied that aggressive is because a lot of people piled in short and they got caught. And who knows if everybody covered their positions? Maybe they're still holding. So if you think about it, this spot right here, there could be a lot of shorts that got trapped. And then who knows, on these days where it showed a lot of weakness, maybe people were adding to their positions, or if they currently weren't short the market, maybe it was new shorts hopping in. But this day right here, I think is a huge change in kind of the shift of market sentiment, because there's been some bad news that's come out and the market is not going down on bad news, at least for the short term. All the bad news that keeps getting thrown at the market just pushes it out of the way and it's continuing to climb higher in the face of that negative news. So you're talking about the technical spot where maybe a lot of people got stuck to the short side, and if they're being stubborn and they're not getting out of their positions, the higher this goes, the more pain they're going to feel, and I would think at some point they want to get out of their positions. And then some other technicals that I'm also looking at is if you see this prior high right here, kind of this 375, and then also this 379, these are major areas of resistance. So if we get some follow through next week and the SPY can get through 375 to 379, it looks like it has a lot of room higher. And then if SPY can get above that 380, you're talking about a lot of people that are underwater that are going to be stuck short, feeling some pain. And I know if I was stuck short below 380, and who knows what's going to happen with the market and just that uncertainty, I would want to get out of the way. So I'm trying to think about the psychology of people who are positioned to the downside, because there was a lot of negative stuff happening. So it felt like the market was going to go lower. But when everybody is aligned on one side, that's usually when the opposite happens. So really just trying to factor everything together on what could possibly happen. Now, nobody knows what's going to happen. All we can do is use the information that's in front of us, the technicals, the news flow, to come up with the possibility of what could happen. And that's why I think that maybe there could possibly be a short squeeze, even if it's only short-lived, just because of all this stuff lining up. And then if for some reason it really does start to get going to the upside, I think it has room to this 50 SMA on the daily at 387. And then if we hold above that, there is an open upside gap kind of right around this 410 area. So who knows? Maybe we could fill that to the upside. I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. If I knew, I would be a billionaire because I would just position accordingly. But all I can do is just react day to day. And I'm not a swing trader. I'm not a long-term investor. So I'm not going to position based on this. I'm a short-term intraday scalper, and I just try to go with the short-term trend to be able to take scalps off the open, like I always talk about in my videos, 1 to 3 trades in the first hour, and then call it a day. But I try to get an idea of what's going on with the overall market, so that way I can try to focus on the right side, at least for the short term, so that way I can take advantage of those quick upside moves or the quick downside moves. And if next week we start to get some upside follow through and we get above this 375, above this 379, I feel like the short-term trend is going to be to the upside. So I'm going to want to focus to the long side when it comes to those intraday scalps. So that's a quick video on my thesis on why there could possibly be a short squeeze. Just trying to line up the technicals, the shift in market sentiment, and the fact that in bear markets, there can be really aggressive rallies. Who knows what's going to happen, but it'll be cool to look back at this video to see if I was right or not. So that's it for the video. I appreciate you watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I just want to talk about a couple cool things that I have to offer. The first is going to be my newsletter watch list. This is exactly what I post on my private Twitter 30 minutes before market open every single day. I do a quick analysis of the overall market, the SPY and the Qs, if there's any major market news that day, and then all the stocks I'm interested in watching, it's usually 4 or 5, if there's any major news tied to them, and all the levels that I think are in play. To the left, this is exactly what I'm posting on my private Twitter. I make sure to add that newsletter. I take a screenshot of the charts, green line to the upside being long, red line to the downside being short, and I make sure to highlight those 2 levels above. This is everything that's going on in my mind and my game plan going into each market open. Also, I make sure to add a little mental note because every day is slightly different, and here's an example of that. And if you want something that's a little bit less of a commitment, I do offer a live one-on-one call for 1 hour. This is where you can ask me questions about my journey, go over setups specifically, everything that I've gone through as a trader. Whether you're beginner or advanced, this is a great way to connect with me. So if you're interested in my private Twitter or the one-on-one live call, feel free to go to callmattdiamond.com or check out the links in the description below.